he talks about some real, like, a deep, fucked up shit that has to do with social constructs. And what I think is really, really cool about this is this shows, like, the true nature of control, the government, and the way the world works. Not the way that people perceive that the world works, but the way that the actual world works when you break it down step by step and you look at the facts of the past and how we've gotten to where we are. And that is an amazing tool to use in world building. It's money, that's the facts. Yes, but there's nuance to the dynamic between money and power. Because sometimes it's money, sometimes it's power. Most of the time, it's both. I was watching Triangle Knights. He's working on a TTRPG right now, I think. Ooh, nice, Sean. That's fucking cool. Love that shit. But yeah, so, yeah, I saw this. It was this one, right? This isn't reality and I'll prove it. Yeah. What's the TT mean? What, TT? Oh, for TTRP. Something tactical, right? Like top-down tactical? Tabletop. Okay, there you go. Tabletop. That makes more sense. Tabletop RPG. But yes, this guy's got a lot of really cool videos that I'm going to do more deep dives into over things, because this is really interesting for me. I feel mean today. That's okay, book buyer. And this guy he looks like another YouTuber that I watch, and I can't remember what his name is. It's like on the tip of my fucking head. Oh, I think it's, I think I know what it is. Fuck, what's it called? Something Moon, something Moon, something Moon. Fuck, why can't I remember what it's called? Ah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I know you were saying a moon, but I heard nude. Okay, so this is really cool. We can take it for your mean day and your mental health. True, Sean. There can be only one mean person. It's like the rule of one with you can have one chick in the group. But once you have two chicks in the group, oh shit, man. Then shit's getting fucked. You can only have one chick in the group. Should work on my story then. I have no interest in this. Oh, come on, book. You have wait for the first minute into the video and then tell me that you're not interested in it. Okay? Beezus. I mean, who wants to have an existential crisis willingly? Very true, Beezus. Okay. So.
This streamer is garbage. I don't want these L channel points.
This shit blew my mind. It's 100% true. It is super powerful, and it is not talked about. And it is the embodiment of what I am trying to make this channel. So it's very personal to the channel.
This is going to rip a hole in your brain that you cannot plug. It's going to permanently change the way that you see stuff. There's so many symbols and signs that human beings are experiencing a simulation of reality. These simulations are not just mediations of reality, and they're not even descriptive mediations of reality. They're not based in reality at all. This is your everyday life. This is your life. The shirt you're wearing right now, the room that you're sitting in. The boundary between real and something that's unreal has been permanently blurred, as in we cannot go back. We cannot return to the original.
Great fucking intro. This is a great fucking video. This is what I need to start doing fucking...
Jean Baudrillard is famous
you know.
for having written this incredible book called Simulacra and Simulation. My favorite quote,
Yes,
we
book.
live in a world where there is more and more information and
God
less
damn
and
it.
less meaning. Have you really just ever felt like your brain is constantly being hit with facts and updates and opinions, but none of it really sticks? In our world of endless content, real meaning gets lost in that noise. Baudrillard saw this coming a long time ago, and it sounds crazy. Shouldn't more knowledge, access to news and history and science make everybody smarter and better informed?
See, this is where I'm like, this is one of the biggest things, is the like Bisa said, I don't want an existential crisis foisted upon me. But, okay, I guess I'll just summarize the idea behind it. The idea behind it is that nothing is authentic. Everything that you see has been put basically inside of a box. And the idea of what reality is, like a grocery store, like when you think about, oh, where does meat come from? Where does produce come from? The instant thought is grocery store. It's not thinking about a farm or an animal or thinking about a crop. You have been conditioned to think in a certain way about what reality should be. The same way with like how people fake, fake photos and like try to set things up and stuff like that. Your grandfather was a farmer. Well, that makes sense, book. But it's like the idea of like the image that comes to mind for most people is like a grocery store. Most of our lives are taken up by the internet without actually going out and learning things directly. It's not even about that, Sean. It's literally about the authenticity of what you're seeing. When you interact with people in the real world now, it's almost like a 1984 effect where people are not willing to say what they actually believe. Play the violin, Hansy. And everything, like, from the government to, like, companies and stuff is to force you to believe that reality is one thing, right? That the reality that we live in has shifted so much that the internet is now a part of reality. It shouldn't be new at all. It's just, it's a refreshing idea that no one really talks about, but it's the basis of what I've wanted my content to be. I've wanted my content to be, like, 100% authentic, creative content that doesn't bend the rules, that doesn't hyperbolize everything, that doesn't create this abstract notion of what creativity should be. True thought-provoking content. Exactly, Sean. And the problem with the world is it doesn't want true thought-provoking content. So this to me has always been, how do I break through this barrier? Although I'm mostly here for the fluff. Yeah. There has to be that on top of it, right? It has to be entertaining. Right? You have to be entertaining in order to catch people's attention. So there is the entertainment factor, but I try to make it as authentic and grounded in the topics that we cover, and the ideas that we spread are not some propagated idea of reality, but the actual reality itself. And that's why I push so hard for not censoring my stories and making my stories push the boundary of what people believe, but still upholding the respectful presentation of the human condition, right? Like, people with mental disorders, people with power complexes, sexual fetishes, government conspiracies. I just got reminded of the goat heads. True, but it's just like, as a simulation, when people think simulation theory, they normally think, oh, simulation is in a computer simulation. But this is more like the things that we are starting to believe are reality are actual simulations of reality. Like the idea that the only reason people go out and touch grass is so they can get a picture of them touching grass to tell people that they've touched grass. I wish I could remember the gay pirate dictionary. The only one I remember is the In Irons, which is a promiscuous fella with a lot of piercings.
Baudrillard's answer is kind of tucked away inside this collapse of the real into the simulation.
I'm not sure how deep that is. It sounds like an old man that says, I don't know what real life is anymore because you're on your phone too much. See, I think that's just... I think you're being too specific, Beezus. I think the entire point of it is that the only reason why people create Okay, I have a great example. A great example of this. If you remade this show today, how much of the content on it do you think would be staged? Now, I'd believe that probably 30 to 40% of the stuff on here is probably staged. That's where I would start. Like, we're talking 90s, yeah. 30 to 40% is probably staged. But if you recreated this nowadays, 100% of the content on it would be staged. Because nothing that was authentic would make it past that barrier of entry that staging something can create. The amount of coincidence of things lining up, that isn't... This is, at least, isn't an existential crisis, so I'll watch it, but I'm not expecting much right now. That's why I was like, I don't think you're understanding when it comes to, like, there's no existential crisis here. It's just, if it's a thought that not a lot of people talk about, and it's something that, like I said, I want my content to be authentic, not a lot of people talk about. Like, you talk about slop and stuff like that, but they never talk about the actual, like, definition of what you would call content that is staged. Content that is appeared to be real to create the hyper real. And it was really funny that there was a phrase that comes up in here, which is like hyper real. And it's funny that Asmund made a statement yesterday about things that are hyper real. And I was like, I've never heard him say hyper real before. And it's just in my head, those coincidences when you watch something, a new word comes into creation, and then all of a sudden you see that word everywhere, and you've never seen anyone or heard anyone say it before. I just fucking love this shit.
One of Baudrillard's biggest ideas is that we're no longer dealing with reality. We're dealing with simulacra. And when he talks about simulacra, these are copies of a world that doesn't exist anymore. Everything kind of refers to something else. So in the past, a picture captured of a moment of real life. But now the photos that we take are filtered or AI generated or staged just for social media. They're not records of reality. They're designed representations of how reality should look. A painting of a king used to refer to an actual monarch. And a king nowadays is an emoji, refers to no one. It refers to an idea. It's a...
Like my daughter's name, I thought I was originally naming her Ariana. Then after that, I see Ariana's every 7th names. Yup.
Simulation of something that cannot point to what it's referencing.
Survivorship bias.
The real world does not distinguish between a war where people are getting killed and a viral TikTok dance. Both of those exist as content, and meaning becomes flattened. If a memory of an event is shaped entirely by news clips and social media, do we even need the event itself anymore? What should seriously terrify you is that we're already at a certain point where it doesn't even matter if something is real. It only matters if it feels real.
feelings are way more important than reality.
Simulation is a process that begins with a model that generates a sign or a symbol that's meant to represent reality. So as the process of simulation advances, these signs lose their connection with the original.
The creator of this video definitely hates AI. I mean, I don't know about that, but I mean, he has a lot of videos on it. I think it's more of like a warning thing than it is like, you know,
thing
anything else. But I could be wrong. This is the only video I've ever watched.
On their own life.
I just looked at a bunch of his videos.
What's called simulacra. They're copies that have no original. It's a simulation of itself.
Just based on his words so far, I'm making an assumption. Yeah.
There's 4 levels of simulacra. This is a faithful, or what you would call true, copy, where the representation is clearly an artifact of a real and unblemished original. So this is a perversion of reality here. So either intentionally or unintentionally, we're distorting the image of the original.
I'd say this personally for me is like Werewolf days, right? Like I am going out of my way to create an image of myself. Nobody has ever truly seen anything aside from the sun and electricity or bioluminescent things. That's true, Sean, because all you see is light reflections.
They still have a link to the original, but it's been changed. These mask the absence of a profound reality, and they create a facade that looks real or natural, but it's not tied to any original form. These have no relation to reality at all. They are their own, what he calls simulacrum. Here, this line between like real world and the world of simulacrum becomes indistinguishable. You cannot tell the difference between fourth order simulacrum and reality. There's a fascinating story.
There's some editing errors in here, but this shit happens.
The Ifwago people. When the ethnologists first set foot in this Ifwago territory, they were just captivated by their social systems and these intricate rituals. And the scientists came to document the authentic Ifwago way of life. But here's where things get really interesting. As the Ifwago people became more and more aware that they were being observed, they started to act a little different. Their rituals became way more elaborate and started changing and modifying themselves, and they started wearing a lot more traditional clothing a lot more often. So the tribespeople were now performers, acting out an idealized version of their culture to the scientists. So all of these works that they put were published around the world. So over time, the Ifwago tribe...
One thing I'll make a comparison to, which is another thing I'll bring up here, because it's kind of like part of the... whoops, actually, no, we want on Twitter. Part of the day. Which one is it? No, this is all old. Fuck. Where was it? But it's about Twitch and the way that I've actually think this is something that's bothered me for a while. We never fully know what the reality of events are. We just read the news provided to us and then choose which of the two sides that posted them are telling the truth. With AI coming into play, we're going to simulate whatever evil acts they want us to believe the other side did, and we'll have nothing but the proof they want provided us to go off of. We're going to have a Holocaust-level event in the future that never happened, but the government provided a hyper-realistic AI rendition of it happening. And the other thing, Beezus, is the other way around, where there are genocides happening where they won't even talk about it or cover it or anything like that. So there's two completely, like, opposite sides of it, where, oh, that's what it is. No, it's here. God damn it. But anyways, he was basically saying that, you know, streamers live in a box created by advertisers. So most creators do, like, you know, say the N-word, say the F-word, the homophobic F-word off camera. And it was about this clip of this guy when he was 15 basically saying the N-word. And it's like the idea that on Twitch, people are a completely different person because it's like being at work. You are at a job, putting on a show, and you have to do it within a certain set of rules. So when you get off the platform, don't expect people to always act the same as they do on screen. But because people are so parasocial, they want to believe that streamers are acting themselves on stream. I will tell you, I don't say the N-word. I don't say the homophobic F-word. I pretty much act the same way, except I would at home with my friends and family, right? Like, I fuck around. I don't give a shit what the fuck I say. I say retarded. The only reason I don't say the F word is because I never really ever used that term. It's not just in my vocabulary. Fucking ads. I'm retarded. I'm talking to myself, guys. I'm talking to myself here. AI is honestly going to probably going to do more evil than good within the next few centuries, and that it'll stabilize, hopefully. Well, I do agree that change is necessary. AI art is one of those that isn't necessary change. I believe artwork is something exclusive to humans. Not all the time streamers act the way they are on camera, especially Twitch partners. Exactly. It's gonna happen, sadly, because there isn't really a way to tell the difference anymore. They can just pass it off as whatever people... But then again, Beezus, when people talk about AI art, I ask this question. When cameras came out, and...
By my self-imposed terms and conditions I must once again type this stupid line. It's not nice to say retweeted.
Hello, Muffin! How's it going, brother? Welcome, welcome. We are discussing a simulation theory that is not what you think of a simulation theory. But how are you doing, good sir? What I would say is, looking at it...
WTF happened to the TDS?
It's broke. It broke, Muffin. It happens like once a week now. I don't know. It just fucking breaks. So I guess that hasn't been working the last couple days or whatever. Like, when I turn it on, it just fucking, like, just dies somewhere down there. Someone kidnapped her and replaced her. But getting to a point of saying, like...
While her voice is borked. Her RAM usage is 1/10 of what it's supposed to be. And.
Get rid of those. But with AI, so think about this. I'm gonna be back in a bit. Sounds good, Muffin. When cameras came out...
At least it makes it impossible to shoot you today.
True, Sean. When it comes to AI, did artists, painters, drawers get mad when the when photography, when the camera was invented? Do you think they got angry? And they were like, well, now anyone can just take a picture. Our art is worthless now. Or do you think they just said, oh, well, there's They accuse it of capturing... No, that's just crazy people, Sean. That's just crazy people. People still believe that shit. But, it wasn't for, like, being against art. People were just against cameras for other reasons, like you said, because it steals your soul or whatever. But, I mean, like, I don't think painters, nearly everyone bought it, though. Oh, that's very true. But it's more of the times with, like, superstition and religion and stuff like that, right? Huge thing. But still, look at where we are now. So, look at what, for instance, I could do with a camera, Sean. You give me the same camera you give, I don't know, a professional photographer, but you know what I mean, like a professional photographer. You give us both a camera, I'm gonna give you... And they're gonna give you something fucking immaculate. That's gonna be the same thing with AI. Can't prove it, but I wouldn't be surprised to learn a painter started that superstition. True, Sean. I don't believe in prompt engineers being artists, but they'll be the only ones able to make a living off of it compared to an artist that doesn't have the same capabilities and output work. But I think it's going to be the opposite, Beezus. I think it's going to be the prompt engineers are going to be me with the fucking camera just taking pictures. But the people that have the artistic touch, that have the vision and the expertise, they're going to be making the masterpieces that you couldn't even imagine. How the fuck did you take that picture? That's what I think. It will be indistinguishable from even the greatest masterpieces in the future. I still think there's going to be a creative element to it, like you were saying earlier, that only humans have a uniqueness to. Got you, Tadpole Gaming. Hope you have a killer stream today. True, Cubano. Thank you. Enjoy your gaming, good sir. It'll take less than an hour to create. That's true. But my thing is, in a world where everyone is using AI, Beezus, because you got to think about it, like, in 50 years, everyone's going to be using AI. Everyone's going to know how to use AI. It's going to be so integrated into society that I think that artistic vision and that artistic mind and that creative structure is going to outmaneuver anyone else because it's going to be such commonplace technology. Uniqueness is an intangible that resonates differently with everyone. I don't think it can be replicated. And that's exactly why I think no matter what, there is always going to be a continuously unique... Like, it's like the concept of, like, zooming in. Because I don't think we'll ever get to the idea of the Planck length. What'll happen is we'll be here, then we'll zoom in. And then we'll be here, and then we'll zoom in. And then we'll be here, and then we'll zoom in. And because of human creativity and the power of pattern recognition, you're going to be able to tell that this is AI, and this is human. And then that AI is going to copy that human, and then it's going to go like this again. And then the same thing's going to happen. The AI is only going to be able to basically... It's going to be like one step behind the trend. But humans will always be evolving and creating that trend. That's what I think. Until actual artificial intelligence is created. Like, until we literally have something that is born with absolutely no knowledge, and the only knowledge that it gains is through its interaction with the world. So that it develops its own unique, personalized perspective because of the conditions that it learned that knowledge in. Just like a human. I think at that stage, that's the same thing as our level of consciousness. But that is like 1,000 years away. Beezus, that's because I think at some point in time, AI is going to remove the human factor. And AI is going to say 1,000 years is incredibly ambitious. Yep. But the scale of increase of technology without barriers in 1,000 years, the projected time from now, like this is how I think about it. The technology in 1,000 years from now is what a normal person would think technology will be 1,000,000 years from now. So, Beezus, what do you think if our civilization continued, what would the technology look 1,000,000 years from now? I look at that and I say, no, that's going to be 1,000 years, not 1,000,000. With the scale that technology evolves at, especially when super AI comes in, like super generative AI, I think that I meant the opposite of what you thought I did. I thought you were being negative about it, saying that or you saying like, oh, I think we're 100 or 2 away from massively advanced AI. Oh, I see what you mean, Beezus. I see what you mean. But I mean like our level of consciousness. Like to the point that like there's literally no reason for humans to even exist. We are absolutely inferior to the point that we're not even like we as humans aren't even part of this AI civilization anymore. They're like the 13th colony of fucking Cylons in Battlestar Galactica. Like they broke away and thought that they were like fucking human. But they know that they're like AI, but you know what I mean, right? Like they're just on that level, and then it's just like they just continue to advance until it's like ascension level fucking intelligence, right? But like I mean that gives me an idea for a story now. Almost the opposite of my Earth origin story.
Themselves started referring to these academic texts to understand their own traditions. So new generations that are now influenced by these published works adopted these documented customs as the new standard of culture. The line between real and represent.
Are you talking Cylons from the Caprica series? Human Cylons, the 13th colony, Sean. The original 13th colony that split away before they left Earth. Like 4,000, 5,000, I don't remember exactly what the timeline from splitting from Earth is. But when because the 12 colonies went one way from Earth, and the 13th colony went in a separate direction, and the 13th colony were Cylons, and that was the reason why they split. Or they were like the idea of Cylons. They were human robots. So advanced they were basically indistinguishable, even biologically, from humans. And they could reproduce. But I've always loved the idea of the Cylons as a outward technology, inward biologics. It's one of the only sci-fi shows that does something like that.
Was gone. Let me give you another example here of this fourth order simulacrum. How is Walmart a simulation? It's this giant sprawling space. It offers everything that you want. Medicine, hairspray, clothing, groceries, whatever it is. It's not just a supermarket. It's what this book refers to as a hypermarket. Everything becomes a sign. Everything's a representation of something else. The produce is clean, it's uniform, it almost appears artificial. You go to a farmer's market, vegetables don't look like that. So what's natural is made into something simulated to reconstruct our expectations. But why do we have that expectation? Because we saw it in the media, which was
because we have been conditioned. The original 12 colonies were founded from a planet called Cobalt. Earth was a mythical 13th colony. Caprica showed that the original Cylon was incapable of functioning with any program they could come up with, so a guy stole his daughter's cyber clone of herself. She, having been human, was the first functioning Cylon. Okay, then I had it backwards. The origins of the mythology of the Cylons was Earth and the 13th colony. You are right, Sean. I was misremembering. But I think, like, this would be my extrapolation from, like the creator's view, would be that Earth originally created, like, we all came originally from Earth, that's why there's lore of Earth, right? And we fucked up Earth, so we had to leave Earth. And at that point, we probably have something along the lines of Cylons, whether they're clones, they're robotics, but probably to make them more human, we made them biological. And then the story kind of, like, branches out from there, right? So somewhere in history, the idea that the 13th colony went to Earth, or was the 13th colony instead of the origin of, like, mankind. But yeah, it's been so long.
Simulation of that thing. Let's go to Disneyland. It's not just an amusement park, it's a super intensified simulation of aspects of the world that we inhabit. In their bluntness, as an overt space of fantasy and commerce, it becomes more honest than the outside world that pretends to be real. So Disney World serves to camouflage that the rest of the world is also a stage. It's also artificial. If you ask a random person to draw a picture of a princess, what will they draw? That's our definition of real. That's in your head. You define what a princess is based on a simulation. The simulation takes over around age 2 or 3. So the hyper-real becomes more important than things that are actually real. Think of your social media profile right now. It's supposed to be a reflection of you, but how often is it a carefully curated presentation for all of us? Yep. So the you on social media...
Yeah. Me so much less so, because like I said, I try to be as authentic as I can. That's why I swear. That's why I go off on topics and stuff like that. It's because I'm just trying to present myself. And the entertainment factor is the going above and beyond for, like, humor's sake, like making jokes, talking about fucked up stuff, you know? Like trying to interact with the audience. That's the entertainment aspect of it. The authenticity is the presentation. That's what the modern show, the original show is nearly identical, except the Cylons were a reptilian race that realized that opposable thumbs were an advantage in their war, created the Cylon machines. And despite the reptilian race dying out, the Cylon machines continued the war, while Earth, being the 13th colony, survived the final battle of the colonies. Then Adama took the surviving ships across the galaxy, hoping that Earth had continued to advance. But they arrive in 1980. Ah. Okay.
With your complexities, your flaws, they're all smoothed out. This is a representation overtaking the original. You become a simulation of yourself.
And then you have to live up to the expectation that you've created online, right? I was the Atlantis that crashed. It was the Atlantis that crashed on Earth to start humanity. Ah, kind of like where the Nephilim came from. And, you know, the original gods, and breeding the giants that bred with men.
Baudrillard, in this book, argues that our consumer society is a hyper-real world where the consumption of images and signs and symbols don't just mask reality, but they...
Sorry, the Anunnaki, and then the Anunnaki created the human Anunnaki hybrids were the Nephilim.
Become it. Take the brand Nike, just do it tagline, have transcended physical products. Think about Mac. is separated from the products to represent an idea, a lifestyle. So the simulation, the brand image, has overtaken the reality, which is the product. Politics, the simulation of the candidate becomes more critical, more important than their abilities or their beliefs.
Yep.
Why do they win? Because we, all of us, prefer simulation. We want it more. It's more important to us. Just think about everything in your life. We're in a world with fake meat, fake fabrics, fake celebrities, fake personalities, fake plants, fake grass.
Fake me, because I'm AI.
The trouble is that our dopamine comes from these places instead of real things. We're addicted to simulations. We get addicted to simulacra. We've sold our soul to hyper-real things. It's impossible for us to think in terms outside the simulation. So can we get back to real? I'm wondering this too. Some people might say that we're past the point of going back to it. Like we're so deep in this world of fakes, even if we tried to get back to what is real.
Yeah, I think the algorithm here is the problem. If there's any authentic content out there, it's never going to be pushed, it's never going to be curated, it's never going to be found, because it's not... It's the difference between the everyday life and a movie. Everyday life never can compete with a movie because a movie is curated to have all of these things in it. So when you have that as your standard, it becomes... I just realized this is almost what Andrew Tate has been talking about verbatim. Water versus coffee, juice or tea, etc. I mean, you could say my brand is chocolate milk, guys. It's what I drink on stream every stream. But yeah, it's interesting that there's not a lot of people that talk about this, but I've heard Andrew Tate say some things about that as well. Like the inauthenticity of everything. His whole escape the matrix things falls in line with most of this. Yeah. You gotta break out of the mold that you've been put in and literally go touch grass just because you want to go touch grass, bro. But you try to be water, which is better for you, but people think it's boring. Exactly, Sean. That's an absolute great analogy. Water is way healthier for you. It's what you should drink, but it's boring. So people go for alternatives because water is simple. And that might be the main reason why unless, I start going in a direction that's like, we've made a shit ton of authentic content, right? So, same thing with, like, the clickbait titles. Like, even me, I am now leaning, I was like this, right? We're, like, pure authentic with entertainment. Now we're kind of like this, and we're gonna see what happens if we get like this. If we get like this, and we like, pop off, as in we got like, let's say like average like 22 to 28 viewers like next year, right? I'd be like, let's see what happens when I go back to being as authentic, right? But it's like, I don't even know how to... You just slowly keep getting more and more fucking crazy, right? That's kind of the only way to do it. So we'll see what happens in a fucking year from now.
There'd be nothing left. There's another side to this, and there could be little pockets of realness out there. They might be small, they might be hidden, but they're moments or places where what you see is what you get. So think of a genuine smile from someone you've never even met before and how that just feels. Think of art that's made just for the love of making the art, not for the selling of it.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too, is that the whole point of this stream is to hold myself accountable to writing. That is the only purpose why I am here, is to hold myself accountable so I have a means to continue to write. Which we don't really do that. We haven't done a lot of writing, but we've done a lot of reading. And that's important too. That's anything that improves our skill, right? Popping off only happens when people's word of mouth causes others to come into stream. Finding the people who have loads of like-minded contacts is the key. Yeah. And that's why it's like going through authors, and authors are always trying to find other authors, right? But the biggest problem, Sean, is that most authors aren't looking on Twitch to find other authors. So what I want to do is my way of creating a trend. Like, remember I was saying, like, I don't want to be someone who follows trends. I want to be someone who creates trends. The trend would be for people to discover the writing section on Twitch, and for people to flock to it, and it to go from like 6,000 total follows to like 60,000 or 600,000 total follows. Because it is one of the smallest categories on Twitch, aside from niche games. Right? If you look at like content that's considered like real life, non-gaming content, writing and reading is at the absolute bottom of it, and it's not even close. What if we make Authors Unleashed as a Twitch multi-streamer channel? So even when you're offline, someone else's stream might keep it going. I've thought about that, Sean, and having like a contingency of continuous raids, but no one in the streaming community that I've found is either consistent enough or in the same time zones for it. I definitely think we should think about what we want to do with that Twitter community, events or something else to draw people in. Absolutely, Beezus. And like I said, so guys, I'm actually gonna say this now. I don't know if I have to put in my 2 weeks or not, but basically because I said like 2 months ago that I wasn't sure, but sometime around September I was probably gonna take like a month off or something like that. So we got like 2 to 3 months from like September to like maybe midway through November, where I want to 100% put all of my focus on marketing, advertising, expanding the stream, building connections, networking, and building my presence. Because right now I just don't have the time to do that. And it really sucks, but now I'm going to be like, okay, we're going to make some time and we're actually going to do this. Because I think it's extremely important. And now that I've got you guys here, I'm like, we can at least get a couple people. If we can get a couple people, we can get a couple more people. So I've been coming up with some ideas and stuff like that, like contests. And I want to do like not create our own contest, but like promote contests. Like look up contests that you can actually enter and that you get like money from it. And then I want to promote that in the community. Be like, hey, these are competitions that you can enter in order to win money and see like how good your writing is and stuff like that, right? From like short form stuff to long form stuff to like poetry to art to like all kinds of that stuff, and just kind of open up. Do it on stream, that way we can keep you honest so you don't end up wasting your time not streaming. I really think that idea about the Tree City thing I posted in your Discord a month or so ago, it works super well as a community event. I think I remember what you're talking about, Beezus. You look for it? Okay. We got an ad break coming up in a second here, but let's just finish the video.
I think the key is to just know that the world we're in is filled with illusions and distractions, and we might not be able to completely get out of this, but we can definitely become smarter about navigating it. So just remember, anything that takes you further from who you are is the simulation. Clothing, ego, marketing, ads, buildings, neon lights, branding, labels, all simulation. Essentially, get back.
My grandkitty is a juice fiend. Have you ever heard of that before? She loves cakes and cookies too.
To nature. We are nature. That's one of the big illusions that is Simulacrum, is convincing you that you're not nature anymore. That I need to go spend time in nature.
Bring back some kind of depth in your life, slow living. And remember that no matter what your opinion is of something, you're misinformed to a degree.
True.
The more certain someone is in your life, the more you should be skeptical, including yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the most radical thing that you can do today is slow down and unplug.
True. Yeah, I thought this was a fucking awesome video because I don't hear a lot of people talk about this. And this guy has a lot of fucking videos like this. If you guys want to check him out. Whoops, that was the wrong button. God damn it. Hold on a second here. All the wrong buttons. You pick a city, society. From your story, you provide... Oh, for fuck's sakes. Ads! I knew it. We made it through the video, though. It's mostly about your Tree City stuff that you said you had no lore on besides the basic idea of it. Alright. Are we back, guys? You pick a city, society from your story, provide a basic overview of the city's lore, and then your viewers write characters, groups that might exist in that story. You allow them to submit these stories over a period of time, possibly a week or more, and go over them as they come in. Then, when the time is up, you allow viewers to vote on which story they like the most. The best story either gets canonized, a edited YouTube video where you read it, a Discord role where they get access to an emote section only they can use, or even just a wall of fame they make it to. More rewards are possible, but can't think of any. Absolutely true, Beezus. That is a great idea. Dunskies. It was mostly about your Tree City stuff that you said you had no lore on besides the basic idea of it. Yeah, pretty much. I have a lot of stuff outside of the tree, but the stuff inside of the tree kind of like... the stuff inside of the tree is all based on outside of the tree because they don't have any history inside of the tree. So it's purposeful that they don't really have their own identity inside of the tree. It's a really good way to collab because the final choice is yours, but you can see other people's perspective to inspire you. Exactly. You've got a cool cluster of civilizations that allow for a community-driven lore like SCP, but you can keep anything that's actually trash out of the lore, unlike they did. True, Beezus. I mean, at some point in time, when you have memes being SCPs, I think we have a problem here. Everything's an SCP. But yeah, the idea behind collaboration has to inspire people to do something, right? So you have to target their passion, right? And people Writers, come on guys, we love telling people about our fucking world building, our lore, our ideas, our creativity. We fucking love bragging about it. We love it. That's what we do. That's why we're here, and there's nothing wrong with that. Embrace it. Having the full lore for each community allows you to generate authentic responses from said community to the outsiders that are interacting with them. I mean, lore dump YouTube shorts have a massively dedicated viewer base. Absolutely true, Beezus. Like, the amount of speculation videos for, like, Dune, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, or, you know, Song of Ice and Fire, The Matrix, fucking, even, like, TV shows and shit like that, like, fucking game theory, film theory, like, the craziest of crazy shit.